Hello, welcome to something that might maybe be a series. I watch a lot of YouTube, and I have a similar level of criticalness to pretty much anything I consume. I have a lot of thoughts and opinions, and today I'm gonna share them. So this is some YouTube channels that I enjoy. I hope you enjoy this video. Uh, so for this premiere pilot episode, as it were, I picked out some channels that specifically are not anime related and are not analytical. Even though that is most of what I watch is, people uh, analyzing either comedically or seriously any uh, anything from anime to film and art in general all throughout. But, I wanted to take the opportunity to get away from that and talk about some channels that don't do that and that I enjoy. So first up we have Rushad Eggleston. This man has quickly become one of my favorite channels, and it's kind of difficult to describe why. But the second you watch one of his videos, you kind of just understand. Rushad Eggleston is a cellist. He is extremely skilled, and the cool thing is he has a very unique technique. A lot of his music, as you can sort of see with the video titles, Bounced, Bounce, Party Mix, Wiggle Bounce, Wiggle Bounce. He's very into this bounced bow technique, and not just like one bounce bow technique, but all sorts of different ways to do that. So like weird subdivisions and stuff with bounces, and he's constantly sort of pushing his limits and figuring out new and creative ways. And he's also super goofy. Like, as you can see by his hat, this man, he's like the epitome of just free creative expression, totally open, like this kind of creativity where you're not concerned about being seen as being weird or dumb or childish. Like, he just totally goes for whatever he wants to do, has fun with it. You can definitely see that, like, the passion and just enjoyment, but then also the fact that he does put in time and work towards continually improving. And these videos sort of, because they're very short, and they're mostly like a spur of the moment thing, like in the descriptions of the videos he usually gives a very like vague description of what came through, and usually it's something in the vein of like, I was working on this technique and then I found a song inside of me, and I spent a few hours letting that song work its way out, and then I recorded it for you. So it's like this feeling of watching his continual progress, even as he's already really good and fun to watch, is just immensely enjoyable. And like all the songs he does are just fun, jaunty pieces, and often quite strange in all sorts of great ways. Like Vegan Goblin Death Metal song, which I think by its very title tells you a lot, which is, it's a song about vegan goblins. Or one of his most famous videos, which is a video by which I found him, is a video called I think I can just look it up. Yeah, Tofu. He also has a song called I Peed on a Bird, which is quite excellent too. But I love Tofu, and this song, this is another one of his cool technique things where he plays the cello standing up, which is really fun to see. He's got Tofu on a fork on the end of his bow, so he's singing the song about loving tofu. Then he picks up tofu and eats it in the middle of the song. It's amazing. It's incredible. I love everything. Look at this man's style. It just everything about this channel oozes personality and fun and creativity, and it's so unique. I've like seriously never seen anything like it. Some of his songs are sung in like a totally made up language, which I think plays even more into his like weird uh, crea- creativeness that sets him apart. Like he totally got this unique flair to him that I've yet to see anywhere else. And also he uploads quite frequently. Sometimes it varies. Like sometimes, like previously there was a couple places where there was a long gap between videos, but lately he's been uploading like almost every day, and I've been enjoying it. So yeah, check him out, Rushad Eggleston. He's a good man. He's a good man. Next up is Johnny Phillips. So Johnny Phillips, um, she is an animator currently in school, in animation school for experimental animation. And she actually worked on, if you saw it, a short called Rachel and Her Grandfather for not Frederator, what's it called? Cartoon Hangover did a series of, they do a series of like shorts that are basically like test the waters for the potential of something as a series, and hers was one of them. And I really like her work because it's weird and trippy and kind of incredible. There's a certain attitude to it that is hard to find elsewhere, because she goes for this very totally loose. I guess the way I would describe it is kind of like you look at the art by someone like TK Miz, the Girls Last Tour mangaka, um, and it's very loose and free, but it's done it in a way that you can tell they have a very deep understanding of the fundamentals, and that all of the sketchiness has this intentionality to it that it's like, um, someone might see and say, "Oh, a kid could do this," but no, they couldn't. It's got an intelligence to it. It's a very clear, willful decision for the style, the freedom that they get, and she does have this very sketchy, like aesthetic to her drawings, and she does everything straight ahead, which is the technique where you don't, instead of doing keyframes and in betweens, you just go literally straight ahead, and that's how she animates. And she also does this really cool technique where it's as you can see here, cut out. She animates, cuts it out, and then layers it over, and takes the pictures right, so you get this really cool shadows and sense of depth to all the images. And this is from one of her main films, this 20-minute short called Goodbye Forever Party, which is a really touching and interesting film that I quite recommend watching. This is a good starting point for getting into her work. And then she's also been doing this goofy series called Stilton, and she's currently working on a 40-minute long film that I think is supposed to be coming out in later this year. I think like mid this year or something was what she mentioned. But I would also follow her on Twitter because she posts gifs from the progress of it, and it looks incredible. Like that's part of the thing. Is like even here, like it seems like there's a lot of improvement from the point she was here animation wise, but you can see that despite the simplisticness of the designs, it enables her to do a lot of extremely expressive animation and just get a lot across. So Johnny Phillips is cool, and I love her sense of humor too. It's very funny. You suck at cooking. Yeah. This is a big channel, so maybe you've heard of it. but You Suck at Cooking is he makes food. Initially, this channel started because I found this guy. I feel like pretty early, in his like making stuff. I came across him. I'm not quite sure where, but it was somewhere back here, and I've been following him for a while. Of course, he doesn't upload that frequently. It's maybe once. It's about once a month, I'd say, is his average. Um, and he just like it started off as he does like a cooking video, but the gimmick is that like the stuff he does is very heavily comedy based. So he's usually making something very simple, like the recipe for isn't very complicated. But then the way he does things, like when he's chopping an apple or chopping like a potato, he like throws the potato at the board and then it explodes into all the chops, or various gags, visual gag, also very heavy emphasis on various visual gags and puns and all sorts of things, and all with this very like dry delivery the whole way through, uh, where it's like he doesn't make the fact that he's making a joke clear. Everything's just sort of in the same tone of voice, like this I'm speaking right now. Um, and then also he'll often have at the end of his video a little song about whatever the thing he did was. And that was really cool. And then like it just kept getting crazier. Like he kept just upping the ante. He introduced like this character called Pimblocto. He had this whole arc where they like argued and Pimblocto like left, and then they like sort of reconciled, and then like they had like a true send off. It was pretty epic. It was great, and that's why he has a 10-minute video about candied walnuts. It's about so much more, and you should definitely check it out. But his videos are just a lot of fun. I mean, I personally really like cooking in general. I find it fun. I think it's interesting. It's really unique, like creative expression. And food is awesome. I love food too. So I've always enjoyed cooking videos. Like another one that I could talk about is like Binging with Babbage, who I like because I feel like he takes the typical cooking format and just like condenses it. Like most cooking shows are way too bloated, and he just sort of takes all that, cuts out the unnecessary like fat, and you just get like the actual, core of it, while also having this guy who's really committed to like going above and beyond for like accuracy, and just trying out things like making noodles from scratch, and all sorts of stuff like that. And You Suck at Cooking, it's kind of like he takes a lot of stuff that isn't that complicated, that you might even already know how to do, and then just uses it as like a base for his humor and creativity, and just having a grand old fun old time. So yeah, check him out if you haven't already. He's pretty fun. Another channel that I enjoy watching, and it's only from one series, is this channel called Bon Appetit. Yeah. More cooking. As you can see, I like cooking. Now I don't watch this channel at all. Except for one thing: Pastry Chef Attempts to Make. This is a series where Claire, the pastry chef, attempts to make any variety of unhealthy foods from scratch. And they say it's gourmet, but usually it's like she's trying to replicate it and just like maybe improve it a little bit. So I don't know to what extent I would say like the gourmet terminology is accurate, because she is aiming to replicate it pretty well and then just improve on it if she can. And these are fun because it's like a weekly show that's usually in like around 20 minutes long. And it's got a lot of personality to it because while Claire is making it, there's people moving in the background, like it's filmed in this test kitchen. And they come in, like the various different people in the shop all are like their own characters, as it were. They come in and say stuff and like give their thoughts, and like Brad is a pretty key member because he's more of like the comedic um, bouncing off for Claire. And even recently they started like having the cameraman be more of a character. Like, I very much will acknowledge it's probably all quite well crafted. There's definitely a style, which Lindsay Ellis talked about in one of her videos that I've forgotten what it called. But she talked about like Man About Cake and some other stuff where like there's a very clear like craft to creating the sense of community and stuff. But it is a genuinely fun show. Not only like you get to watch her try to figure basically problem solving, like she's trying to figure out how to do something in a through a unique means, and especially as enjoyable as it usually has a sort of arc to her, like being inquisitive, then getting stressed out and crazy and angry because it's not working out properly, and then finally figuring out how to make it work in the end. Of course, some episodes are worse and some are better because it's a natural ups and downs of something like this, but it is a very just nice series that I like to watch weekly. As you can see, I tend to gravitate towards less frequent content because I just feel like when you make stuff too fast, it just loses its novelty. Even like if a channel made a type of video and they just put out the same video either one every day, one every week, and it's literally the same content, right? I would enjoy it more if it was one every week because it's just more fresh. Whereas one every day, suddenly I'm gonna get behind, and then I'm gonna lose interest and feel like, get tired of it, get fatigued with it. Which is probably why I still watch it every single Zero Punctuation every week. I watch it every week. It's like it's just fun. It's 5 minutes of fun once a week. That's cool. Um, yeah, that's some YouTube channels that I recommend. You want me to do more videos like this? Let me know. I don't know if this was entertaining or not, but I felt like talking, and that's it. Bye.